नमस्कार सर. नमस्कार मल्होत्रा साहब. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार सर. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार सर.
नमस्ते. नमस्ते बेटा. नमस्ते.
मैडम नहीं आए.
आयो लिंक कर.
नमस्कार मैडम.
नमस्कार. कैसे हैं आप?
नमस्कार.
आप ठीक हैं?
आ रहा हूँ. ठीक है.
पासी मैम नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. आप कैसे हैं?
सर नमस्कार.
तुम्हारा माइक ऑफ है भाई. डॉक्टर सुमन अनम्यूट करो.
सर सर अभी शुरू करेंगे और वेट करें थोड़े बहुत पार्टिसिपेंट्स की।
मैडम से पूछो। मैडम बताओ जी।
मैम पासी अभी शुरू कर लें हम लोग।
मेरे ख्याल से कैसा ठीक समझते हैं? मेरे को पहले ये बताइए, ये जो लोग अटेंड कर रहे हैं ये पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं कि ये कौन है? Who are the party? Who are the people who are attending?
ये मैम कॉन्फ्रेंस के पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, पेपर जिनको प्रेजेंट करना है
ओके,
वो है। और बाकी
कुछ?
हमारे ज्यादातर पार्टिसिपेंट वो कह रहे थे कि अभी उनके पास जैसे कुछ बिजी शेड्यूल था, कुछ लोग अपने इमरजेंसी बता रहे थे, तो हमने इसको यूट्यूब पे लाइव कर दिया है ताकि वो जो जैसे उनके पास टाइम होगा वो आपके उसको कर लेंगे फिर, क्योंकि हमने सभी की पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन डायलॉग मोड के थ्रू ही रखी हुई है सभी पेपर्स की।
ओके, एक बात और हमें ये बताएं कि ये लोग जो अटेंड कर रहे हैं प्रेजेंटर्स, इन्होंने कभी पहले डायलॉग किया है कि कभी नहीं किया है?
कुछ ने किया है, कुछ ने कभी भी नहीं किया है। ये दोनों तरह के मिक्स हैं।
मैं वॉइस क्लियर नहीं हो रही।
मैडम पूछ रहे हैं कि जो भी अटेंड कर रहे हैं कि इन्होंने पहले कोई डायलॉग मोड अटेंड किया है।
इन्होंने नहीं किया मैम पहले डायलॉग मोड से प्रेजेंट।
ओके ओके, ठीक है। तो आप अगर अभी और कुछ जो आने वाले हैं करने वाले हैं, नहीं तो फिर हम लोग स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
मैम हम स्टार्ट कर
कुछ
लेते हैं।
ऐसे अगर आप,
हाँ जी मैम।
वॉइस कट रही है, आपकी आवाज कट
मैम
रही है।
प्लीज
डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा, मेरी
मैम, आप
आवाज
बोलिए।
कट रही है?
हाँ, आपकी आवाज मुझे सुनाई दे रही है पूरी। मुझे ऐसा लगता है स्टार्ट कर लेना चाहिए और जो ज्वाइन करना चाहें तो ज्वाइन कर लेंगे। और अदरवाइज भी उन्होंने एक बता ही रही है, वो उसके ऊपर क्रिएट कर रखा है।
वही
तो वो आप यूट्यूब से देख लेंगे अगर जिनका पर रह जाएगा।
मेरे ख्याल से यही ठीक रहेगा।
डायलॉग मोड से होगा।
मेरे ख्याल से यही ठीक रहेगा।
हाँ,
और अगर बीच बीच में फिर अभी मैं मतलब शुरू करूंगी और फिर अगर किसी ने कुछ पूछना होगा या कोई आ रहे हैं, एंट्री होती है तो आने दें उनको, कोई बात नहीं।
हाँ, अब ठीक है, गुड नंबर इज देयर। मुझे ऐसा लगता है आप स्टार्ट कर लें।
Yes.
और अगर किसी को जरूरत होगी तो देख लेगा, नहीं तो फिर उनको हम यूट्यूब के ऊपर तो है ही है आपका लाइव, तो उसके ऊपर लाइव देख लेंगे बाद में।
ठीक है,
ठीक है, ठीक है मैम, हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं।
हाँ, तो पूरा वो स्टार्ट।
A very good evening to you all. Assistant Professor, BPSITTR, welcome you all in the pre-international conference workshop on dialogue method of paper presentation organized by BPSITTR in collaboration with Global Educational Research Association, GERA. To begin with the program, I would like to invite Miss Ashu, B.Ed first year student, for the Saraswati Vandana. Ashu?
आशु, आप अपना माइक अनम्यूट कीजिए प्लीज। आशु,
यस मैम। वंदना के स्वर समर्पित है, मेरे तन भी मन भी प्राण अर्पित है तुम्हें। वंदना के स्वर समर्पित है मेरे। शक्ति दे माँ, भक्ति दे माँ, ज्ञान का उजियारा कहते को ज्ञान दे माँ, डूबते को सहारा दे। ऐसी शक्ति दान कर दे माँ, हमें वंदना के स्वर समर्पित है मेरे। साधना ही लक्ष्य हो, कल्याणकारी ज्ञान हो। साधना ही लक्ष्य हो, कल्याणकारी ज्ञान हो। आकाश छूले फिर भी ना अभिमान हो। ऐसी विद्या दान कर दे माँ, हमें वंदना के स्वर समर्पित है। थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you, Ashu. Now, University Kulgit will be played by Mr. Jagdish. I now invite Miss Vishu, B.Ed third semester student for the Dhyeya Mantra.
धन्यवाद मैम। तत्कर्म यन् बन्धाय सा विद्या सा विमुक्तये, आयासाय परम कर्म विद्यान्या शिल्प नैपुण्यम्। अर्थात कर्म वही है जो बंधन में ना बांधे, विद्या वही है जो मुक्त करे, बाकी सभी अध्ययन मात्र कारीगरी है। धन्यवाद मैम।
Thank you, Vishu. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Annu Balhara, Assistant Professor, BPSITTR, for the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Suman. I wish you all a very good evening. I thank Dr. Suman Dalal, Dean, Faculty of Education and Chairperson, BPSITTR, who has given me this opportunity to extend a hearty welcome to you all in this pre-international conference workshop method of paper presentation organized by Bhagat Phool Singh Institute of Teacher Training and Research, Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur Kalan, Sonipat, in collaboration with Global Educational Research Association, GERA. First of all, I would like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor Bhagat Phool Singh, Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur Kalan, Sonipat, Haryana, in this training and awareness session. I take this opportunity to welcome Pasi, Vice President Gera, for sparing her precious time for all of us this evening. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Professor S.P. Malhotra, President Gera, for being with us this evening in this academic pursuit. I feel delighted to welcome Professor Mrs. S.K. Bawa, President, Headquarters Gera, for joining us in this session. I feel honored to welcome our worthy Registrar, BPSMV, Dr. Neela Malik, for sparing her valuable time for us this evening. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome all our participants of India and abroad in this pre-conference presentation as pre-conference preparation. As we all know that Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur Kala Sonipat, Haryana is conducting international conference on the theme Idea Bankruptcy of Educationalists and 29th of March 2022. So again, welcome you all. Thank you. Now the mic is over to Dr. Suman.
Thank you, Dr. Anu, for the welcome of all our dignitaries and all our participants of this pre-international conference workshop. I also invite Dr. Reena Rani, Assistant Professor, BPS ITTR, for the concept note about the workshop.
Thank you, Dr. Suman, and a very good afternoon to all. It is a matter of pleasure for me to give a concept note of this pre-international conference workshop. As NAP 2020 has addressed the need to educate a large number of innovative powers, and moreover technology has posed new challenges to meet through innovation and in-depth knowledge. Tapping into the higher reaches of human genus and motivations required a new mindset, new skill set, and a new tool set, and a new habit. Slowly but surely, we have begun to realize that if we want to change the situation, we have just to change ourselves, to change our perceptions. To bring about changes through this international conference, Idea Bankruptcy of Educators and Thinkers, the presenter will present the paper using dialogue method of presentation. The researcher and participants attending the international conference will use dialogue method. In this, the participant will be divided into group of 6 to 10 participants in each group to share their presentation with their participants of the group. They will be actively throughout the time and free to raise queries as and when they come to know about different queries related to the topic. Towards the end of the session, the participants will evaluate the success of this innovation mode of presentation Pre-conference workshop is required in which the participant will have hands-on practice session on dialogue mode of paper presentations. So today we are conducting this pre-international conference workshop to handle the hand-on practice session of the dialogue mode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Reena, for briefing about the workshop and its objectives. I now hand over the mic to Dr. Rajkumari.
Thank you, Dr. Suman ma'am. Now I invite Dr. and chairperson of BPSITTR introduction for our resource person. This pre-international conference workshop on dialogue method of our presentation paper organized by Bhagat Phul Singh Institute of Teacher Training and Research in collaboration with the Global Education Research Association GERA. Welcome, ma'am. Now, mic over to Dr. Suman Dalal, ma'am.
Dr. Rashida works in the critical thinking. She is an erudite scholar, an accomplished dramatist, a charismatic speaker, and an experienced management consultant in behavior sciences. She has more than 30 years of experience, having provided wide consultancy to diverse organizations for more than 3 decades. She has attained international excellence. Her selfless and spontaneous outpouring of concern has brought appreciation. As the director of, she has displayed dedication and leadership in organizing more than 750 programs in various fields in many countries. Dr. Pasi helps many other institutions in different capacities. Apart from this, she is a Reiki master, yoga practitioner, and a meditator. She was educated in Allahabad, Hyderabad, Indore, and Athens, USA. Currently, she is running the Samanvi Group for Youth Development. She has so many feathers in her cap, but due to shortage of time, not possible to enlist all her feathers. But we can say that she is an excellent trainer, and especially she has given training in the corporate sector, and so many different management leaders has taken training under her and become successful, you may say, in their respective fields, and she have outstanding communication skills. And with these words, again, I am just want to say welcome, ma'am, that you have spared and willing, and welcome, ma'am. And now mic is over to Dr. Rajkumari.
Thank you, ma'am, for the brief introduction of our resource person. Now, I will invite Dr. Miss S. Pasi, Vice President of GERA, Global Education Research Association, for the address.
Thank you for your kind words, Suman Dalal, Rajkumari, and all the others. Namaskar. Friends, how are you all at this time of the day? Can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
all
we
hear
are very.
me?
Yes,
Fine,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We are very much fine, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. How are you?
Am I audible?
Yes,
Or-
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I hope the voice is clear and it is not cracking.
No,
Yes,
ma'am. It is
ma'am.
not cracking.
It is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, if it is not clear at times, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So without wasting any further time, we will straight away go to what we have to do today. We will be talking about dialogue. My suggestion is that sometimes I see here, how are you, ma'am, or wishing me, or wishing each other. Please stop doing all that when the lecture is going on, because it disturbs. It doesn't disturb me because I'm used to it, but the others may get disturbed. You listen to me carefully. If you have, after a little chunk or a few discussions, I will be asking you, if you have any difficulty, ask me now. When I asked you, ask me now, then you can raise your hand or ask me. In between, please just listen or note down the points that you want to make later on. Okay, this is one point. Number two, I will be using a mixed language. दोनों की मिली जुली बात होगी ताकि सब लोग समझ सकें और हम सब तक रीच आउट कर सकें. ठीक है, ये बात आपको ठीक लग?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Ji, a kind request. I'm from Chennai. I don't know Hindi. I can only understand English. So I'm sorry if it is bilingual, I will not be able to follow. Please, ma'am.
I will be talking most of the time in English. And whenever I talk in Hindi or in English, it will just be a translation. So you don't have to worry.
Thank you, ma'am.
I will be reaching out to you because I'll be talking most of the time in English. And whatever I talk in English will also be done from time to time in Hindi. Is it clear to you?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so you don't have to worry at all. If at all there is some point which you still are confused about, or you do not follow or do not understand, then when I ask you, please ask me now, then at that time you can just ask me. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So now, without any further backgrounds and all other paraphernalia, we will straight away go to what we have to do for the day. Pallavi, you will help me wherever I am not audible. Just let me know that you are not audible. Or
Yes,
if it is not clear, then you let me know. Okay? All right. Now, first of all, we are, or we means Dr. Pasi included. We never say Dr. Pasi is not there because he is, he's not only, we are sure about it that he is a living legend even now. Dr. Pasi never believed in things in academic or otherwise in life, in the routines. He did not believe in routines in a mechanical way, in an innovative way. And from time to time, we can call him that he was a hardcore innovator and a creative person with new ideas all the time, everywhere, for all the persons, with every person. Now, when he saw that people are following over the period of time for years and years and years together, only two modes of paper presentation were being presented. One was the linear traditional mode, which was called and you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you go to the stage, you stand near the podium and you make a paper presentation. This was number one, the traditional linear mode. The second was called the poster mode. And most of the time we were given a fixed time for poster also or for linear also. And when we were making presentations, only a few, a handful were interested. The others were either not interested or looking up what they have to make their presentation, how they have to make a presentation is all that they were looking for. Dr. Pasi was worried about this because he said, as an academician, we must do something new, so that earlier it was that we were all competitive. Competition was the law, but now it was not law. competition was not the law, but collaboration is what is required. So we have to collaborate. And how do we collaborate? नहीं है, एक दूसरे के साथ मिलके काम करना है, कोलैबोरेशन में करना है. तो कैसे करें? ऐसा क्या कर दें कि हम एक दूसरे तक पहुंच सकें, एक दूसरे के साथ मिलकर काम कर सकें. तो उसके लिए पासी साहब ने कहा कि एक नया मेथड, एक नया पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन का तरीका निकालते हैं, और उसको उन्होंने नाम दिया डायलॉग. और ये वो डायलॉग कोई नई बात नहीं है, सोक्रेटिस के टाइम से और पहले से भी आ रही. ये बात है, important is that the dialogue mode of paper presentation that we are going to use is the one which was used by David Bohm and Krishnamurti. इनमें जो दोनों में, ये जो फिजिसिस्ट थे और जो कृष्णमूर्ति थे, इनमें जो बातचीत होती थी, ये अलग तरीके के डायलॉग होते थे. डायलॉग का जनरली मतलब क्या होता है कि डायो मीन्स टू एंड लॉग मीन्स टॉकिंग. तो दो या दो से ज्यादा लोगों में जो बातचीत होती है, टॉक बिटवीन टू एंड मोर पीपल इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड डायलॉग. बट डायलॉग मोड ऑफ पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन इज, it is, we will come to that in a few minutes.
मैम सॉरी, 1 सेकेंड. आप अपने स्क्रीन के नीचे का जो वॉल्यूम है उसको इंक्रीज कीजिए, बिकॉज फ्यू पीपल आर नॉट एबल टू लिसन वेरी केयरफुली. दो वी आर एबल टू हेयर.
Ma'am, it is clear. She is clear and we are audible.
Yes, 2 people messaged, so I had to interrupt.
Okay, no, it's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you all listening now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No problem.
Okay. चलिए, तो पहले अब शुरू करते हैं कि अब जब क्लैरिटी हो गई, और ये भी इसीलिए मैंने पल्लवी को बोला है कि भाई जरा हमें बता देना कि कहाँ पे किस समय समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, या वॉइस लो है, वॉल्यूम लो है. ओके, तो अब ये बात शुरू करते हैं, अपनी डायलॉग पे जाते हैं. सबसे पहले कि डायलॉग क्या नहीं है या क्या है, उस पे 1-2 मिनट में आते हैं. लाइफ इज होल. लाइफ इज होल एंड लाइफ इज वेरी सिंपल. लेकिन हम उसको कॉम्प्लिकेट कर देते हैं. हाउ डू वी कॉम्प्लिकेट लाइफ? बाय डिवाइडिंग इट इनटू पार्ट्स. वी डिवाइड लाइफ इनटू पार्ट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड, so that we are clear what is life, how life is to be followed. इसको समझने के लिए हम उसको छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर देते हैं. यहाँ तक तो ठीक है, it is okay up to here. The difficulty arises when we think that these parts are the whole. This is what is the problem. इन छोटे छोटे फ्रैगमेंटेड समझने लगते हैं तो ही डिफिकल्टी होती है. तो इसीलिए फिर हमारे स्कूल्स में और वर्किंग प्लेसेस में भी कोई कोलैबोरेशन नहीं होता है. स्कूल्स अलग हैं, घर अलग हैं, और वर्क प्लेस अलग है, सब अलग अलग हैं. इन सब में समन्वय कैसे हो? हाउ डू वी कोलैबोरेट सो दैट वी ऑल पार्टिसिपेट टुगेदर इज इम्पोर्टेंट. That is where dialogue enters or dialogue comes. Mind and brain are also holistic and integrated. But the body as a whole functions. Parts may be function karte hain. The ears can hear, the eyes can see, the nose can smell, right? So on and so forth. But if we say that eyes are the only things or the ears are the only things, then we are wrong. Because we are separating it, we are not integrating it into the whole. When we are able to integrate it into the whole, that is where dialogue comes in. Dialogue इसलिए important है. इसके पहले हम देखेंगे कि dialogue क्या नहीं है. Let us first see what dialogue is not. At the outset, we must see what dialogue is not, and then everything will be very clear. Dialogue is not conversation. ये छोटी मोटी बात चीज नहीं, आपस में बात कर रहे हैं, एक दूसरे के साथ बात कर रहे हैं, दैट इज नॉट डायलॉग. डायलॉग इज नॉट गॉसिप. हल्की फुल्की बात कर रहे हैं, गॉसिप कर रहे हैं, दैट इज नॉट डायलॉग. बट प्लीज are important in their own right. From time to time, gossip is very important to release the stress. जब बहुत टेंशन होता है तो थोड़ी गॉसिप कर लेते हैं, छोटी चुटकी ले लेते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. या थोड़ा कॉन्वर्सेशन कर लेते हैं, बट दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट दैट इज डायलॉग. All these concepts, all these words are important from time to time, but they are not. Dialogue is important. अभी हम क्या कह रहे हैं कि what is dialogue? So dialogue is not conversation, it is not gossip, it is not discussion. Discussion is very important because discussion or argument जो होता है is right. They try to prove who is right, I'm right, he is right, so and so is right. But that is not a dialogue. Argument to hai, it is just an argument trying to prove who is right. Discussion concentrates on what is right, even if it is analytical, even if it is that, it is trying to prove what is right. तो अगर हम आर्ग्यूमेंट और डिस्कशन को देखते हैं, both are important in their own right, but discussion is better than arguments because it tells us what is right, not who is right. What is right, ये important है. इसलिए और ये analytical है, partistic हुआ समझना important है. That is why discussion is important, but it is not dialogue. Dialogue is not a debate. Most of us in our life have participated in debates where you have two parts, one speaking against the motion, the other talking for the motion. दोनों important हैं, for भी जानना important है और against भी जानना. This is just a debate. Dialogue will come in when we bring the third part of it. And what is that third part? Where we say, what are the interests? पहले से जो होते हैं, जो very creative ideas. शुरू में if you give a very creative idea, people will say, oh, it is all foolish. It can never be possible. और ये Wright brothers को भी बोला था when they said we are going to fly in the air. और लोहा कैसे उड़ेगा? कभी नहीं उड़ सकता. ऐसा सब बोला होगा उनको उस समय. लेकिन now we are all flying. We are using the aeroplanes, right? So what looks apparently impossible can be possible if not today, tomorrow. इसलिए हम डिबेट भी डायलॉग नहीं है. It is not information seeking. And we are talking just for the sake of information. That is not important in dialogue. तो ये डायलॉग नहीं है. फिर डायलॉग ये भी नहीं है कि we do small talk for the sake of entertaining people. कि हम जोकरों की तरह से काम कर रहे हैं और फिर ये डायलॉग कर रहे हैं, वो नहीं है डायलॉग. डायलॉग ये भी नहीं है कि हम एक दूसरे के साथ एग्री कर जाएं. Let us come, we all will agree to one point. No, that is not dialogue. Diversity will bring in creativity. That is why is different. It is good to be disagreeing with people, but we will not at any cost disrespect people. डायलॉग में ये होता है कि हम डिसएग्री तो कर सकते हैं, पर हम उसमें क्या करते हैं, रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं एक दूसरे की. तो अब ये देखते हैं कि ये सब तो डायलॉग नहीं है, और ऐसी बहुत सारी लिस्ट है, आप कितनी भी निकाल लो कि ये डायलॉग है, ये डायलॉग नहीं है, ये डायलॉग नहीं है, डायलॉग नहीं है, ऐसे करके इफ यू गो ऑन यू कैन राइट hundreds and hundreds of points. So with this little background, what dialogue is not, we come to what is dialogue. So what is dialogue is, it is a process of exploration. It is an innovative way of paper presentation. Why is it innovative? When we start doing it in a few minutes, you will start seeing कि डायलॉग क्या है और कैसे करते हैं हम, किस तरह से ये इनोवेटिव है. How is it different from the linear mode and the poster mode, and how interesting it will become for you. अभी जो लग रहा है कि क्या है ये, क्या है, what is dialogue, पेपर कैसे प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं, हमें तो 5-10 मिनट की आदत. You will not want to go because you'll be so engrossed all the time in making your presentation, in listening to each other. See, I'm not saying speaking to each other, I'm saying listening to each other. Is that in dialogue, when we are exploring, we are trying to construct. You can construct only when you are trying to listen to each other, not when you listen to each other. सुनते हो, समझते हो, तब की बात है, not speaking. So we encourage listening. Speaking नहीं important, I'm not saying that. Speaking is important, but listening is more important. Listening is important. Reflection is important. चिंतन मनन करना important है. स्पीकिंग भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, पर डायलॉग में उतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है जितना सुनना इम्पोर्टेंट है. नॉट एडवोकेटिंग लाइक एन एडवोकेट, ये है एंड इट इज दिस, इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. ओके, देन harmony is important. You can create only when you are having a peaceful and calm mind, and that can be possible only when there is harmony. Dialogue can flourish, and it is beautifully done when we are all with a peaceful mind, when we listen to each other, when we cooperate with each other, when we collaborate with each other with a view to understand. See, there are two things which are important in life. Number one, experience, and number two, understanding. And if you have these two things, no third thing is required, because you've got the experience. There are many students who ask me, ma'am, but how will I get to know? हमें कैसे पता चले कि ऐसा ठीक है कि नहीं ठीक है? And I just tell them, experience will tell you. Today you are an amateur, you are just starting. But over the years, when you practice things, practice will make you perfect, and you will experience, you will understand. And with understanding and experience, you will flourish. That is what is dialogue. Dialogue is creativity. Dialogue is innovating. Dialogue is a trust building. See what I'm saying? Trust building. If you do not trust me, you will not want to listen to me. You will not try to understand me. If in class, your children, your students, whether they are grown-ups, be at colleges or MEd or the PhD students or whatever, or even if they are Montessori and one first standard, second standard, if they trust you, they will love you. They will want to come to you. They will not want to go home back to the mother, because they will say, teacher ne aise bola, I will do this. They respect you. They love you in their own way, even if they are very small. So creativity and trust building is important. This is what is dialogue. Pasi साहब ये कहते थे, Dr. Pasi used to say, dialogue is where लड़ना भी नहीं है और डरना भी नहीं है. We are neither to fight nor to be fearful about anything. तो डरो भी नहीं, लड़ो भी नहीं. ऐसा एक एटमॉस्फेयर, एक ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट घरों में बनाओ, स्कूलों में बनाओ, वर्क प्लेस में बनाओ, और अपनी सोसाइटीज में बनाओ. If we are able to have an environment where there is freedom to talk, to speak, to listen, to understand, when we do not have these kind of things, then what happens is dialogue flourishes. And that happens in an informal way of interaction. You can't sit like this in a tight jacket and say, हम तो कर रहे हैं, चलो बैठो अब, ठीक है. Your body language will tell us whether you are with us or not, whether you are with me or not. Now this is a virtual mode, but I am an expert in communication also, where I know your body will tell me whether you are. Even if you try to pretend with your eyes open and you're looking at me all the time wide, that, oh no, I'm participating, but I know where you are. You're not with me, is sure I can make out. So when we are participating informally, with freedom, without any fear, जहाँ पे लड़ना नहीं है, डरना नहीं है, ऐसे ही कोलैबोरेट करना है, compete नहीं करना है, ऐसे में डायलॉग फ्लरिश करता है. If you have any question, any suggestion, any observation, you are welcome. For 1 minute, I will wait for you.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Not a question. Yeah. It's just a query. You just mentioned that life framed parts in parts. So and you mentioned part as whole. तो थोड़ा सा और डिफाइन करेंगे ये होल पार्ट को आप जो आपने बताया.
वो बेटे अभी हम जब डायलॉग करेंगे जब हम कह रहे हैं कि वो आर्टिस्टिक पार्ट्स हम करते हैं जो वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, समझने के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है. मैं ये बताया ना कि तकलीफ तब होती है जब हम उस पार्ट को ही होल मान लेते हैं. और बॉडी से लेके मैंने बताया था, आंख अगर कह दे कि मैं ही होल हूँ तो क्या आप मान जाओगे? अगर कह दे कि अगर कान कह दे कि आई एम द होल, आई एम नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी, आई एम द होल, इज इट ट्रू? ट्रू तो नहीं है. नो, नहीं ट्रू है. तो डिस्कशन इज एनालिटिकल है और डायलॉग होता है होल में, और उसको हम सिंथेसिस कहते हैं या सिंथेसाइज करते हैं. सो वन इज एनालिटिकल, द अदर इज सिंथेसिस. सारे पार्ट्स को जोड़ के जब हम एक चीज बनाते हैं उसको कहते हैं डायलॉग. वो अभी क्लियर होगा बेटा जैसे पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन की बात आएगी, लेकिन योर पॉइंट इज वेल टेकन. If you still do not understand, I will come back to you. So I presume.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so बाकी सबको क्लियर है? So we move on. Okay. तो अब हम आते हैं कि dialogue is an innovative paper presentation which Dr. Pasi and me, of course, with him, we tried to innovate and we started this. जो एक oral, linear, traditional या poster mode था, इन दोनों के अलावा एक थर्ड मोड जो पासी साहब ने निकाला उसका नाम था डायलॉग. और ये डायलॉग बेस्ड है ऑन द डायलॉग व्हिच वाज प्रैक्टिस्ड बाय डेविड बॉम एंड कृष्णमूर्ति. So we will understand what is dialogue through a formula. Now what is this formula? Just listen to me. 2 into 3 into 3 into 6. Now what is this? Mathematics में जैसे formulas होते हैं ना, तो वो हम क्या कैसे है, what is it? We are going to now see one by one. Don't get upset because this is very easy and you will follow it excellently. It is a formula, dialogue is a formula where we have 6 into 2 into 3 into 3 into 6. अभी क्या है? What is first 6? What is last 6? There's 6 in the beginning, 6 in the end, and in between there are 2 times 3s and 1 time 2. One by one. Before I proceed into details, I will give you an overview, a bird's eye view, and then the worm's eye view. Bird's eye view क्या है? 6, first वाला. The first 6 is called process rules. They are the rules of dialogue. And we call it not the product. See what word I'm using. I'm using the word process rules. Process is क्या प्रक्रिया हम follow करेंगे. That is called process rules. The first 6. Then we have 2 general tools. See, I'm not saying specific. Mark the words I'm using. I'm not saying specific tools. I'm saying general tools. General means you can use this anywhere, everywhere, with anyone, everyone. Okay, so these tools are called general tools, not specific tools. What are those? We will come to that later. I'm just giving you an bird's eye view. Then we have the first three. What are these first three? You have three are called three aspects or dimensions, which is called WWH. What, why, how is it, and how is it? So WWH is the next first three. Then the next three is the three phases of time: past, present, future. Past, present, future. And then we have the six, which is called 6 cycles of paper presentation. Now you can say, ma'am, we have to make a paper presentation, and that comes in the end. Those 6 you are giving in the end. And what is all this paraphernalia? Are there, then the tools are there, then the aspects are there, then the paper, time phases are there. What is all this? All this is important to build up dialogue. You must have a background where you can build all this scientifically. Now we take up the first 6. The 6 process rules. Is the formula clear by and large? Now when we take up and we take it, ये तो हमने एक overview दिया है. Now we take up the worm's eye view. The first is called 6 process rules. 6 process rules has it in a circle. See that I can see some people sitting on the dais. वो हमसे कितनी दूर बैठे हैं. It is true that this is a virtual mode, but all the same, even if it is not a virtual mode and we are not online, we are there with each other, you will see some people sitting on the dais, the others sitting down in the hall. Kitna distance hai? So many people, but all at a distance. इसमें cooperation नहीं हो सकता. We cannot cooperate like that. So the first thing is sit in a circle. Why do we sit in a circle? We sit in a circle so that sit in a circle doesn't mean 100 sitting together. We have only 6 to 8 people, or at the most 10. 10 bhi zyada hai. Ideal is only 6 to 8 people should be sitting in a circle, and it should look like a closed flower. फूल होता है ना जैसे बंद फूल, उसकी तरह से लगना चाहिए. When you are very interested in something, don't you see that you put all your heads together? सब अपने अपने सिर आगे करके सुनने लगते हैं, and you bend forward to listen. But when you say तुम करो हम तो देख रहे हैं ऐसे करके पीछे बैठ जाते हो, then you are not participating. If you are interested, if you are participating, you all get together like a flower. इकट्ठे होके पास में आ जाते हो, and you look into each other's eyes. That is trust building. That is relationship building. Not moving and sitting like in tight jackets, compartments में हम बैठे हैं, तुम करो हम देख रहे हैं. हम तमाशबीन को नहीं चाहते इसमें. We don't want people like that. Dr. Pasi said we are to participate in a free, informal, fearless environment. Okay, so first is sit in a circle, the closed flower. And sitting in a circle means we can diagonally look at each other. We can look at each other on the sides also. आस-पास देख सकते हैं, सामने देख सकते हैं, diagonally देख सकते हैं. और सो भी नहीं सकते. When you are sitting in rows, like the classroom setting is there, people at the back are playing with their mobiles. They are making their drawings. वो टीचर की ड्राइंग बना रहे हैं, टीचर को फिर कागज पैसे से मोड़ के बच्चों को फेंकते हैं, सब करते हैं. They are not paying attention, and they are termed as backbenchers. That is not important. See, even if they are backbenchers, they are doing what they are not interested in what you are doing. But we have to carry each and every one together with us. So we sit in a dialogue mode of paper presentation in a circle. When we are in a circle, we look at each other. When we look at each other into the eyes, each other ka matlab look into the eyes for trust building. If you are talking with me but not looking at me, you are talking with me but looking somewhere else, I don't trust you. मेरी आंख में आंख डाल के बात करो तो ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग होती है. That is where, or that is why sit in a circle is important. Rule number 1, where we can participate, we can collaborate in a very, very ideal kind of environment. डरना नहीं है, लड़ना नहीं है, और trust building होती है. We can look into each other's eyes, and whenever we're very interested, we come closer and we bend forward and we become a close friend. और कभी-कभी तो सिर भी सब एक दूसरे के मिलने लगते हैं, 6-8 के. They become so interested. Our experience tells us, that is why I'm sharing all this experience. Over the years, we've been doing in so many international and national conferences that we are now sure about what we are saying. It is it is not hona chahiye, it is there already. So the first rule is sit in a circle. Second, language. Most of the time we say, speak in a language which is conducive to all. जो सब लोग समझ सकें. In dialogue, no. In dialogue, what is important is, first you express yourself. If you do, suppose, because when I started, I said I will speak in English and Hindi. Immediately one person who could not follow, she said, no ma'am, but I can only. It is very good that she said that. I appreciate. Because if she's not able to follow, what is the point in taking up? But there are people who will not follow you if they are Hindi speakers. Then what to do? The first thing is, speak in a language in which you are comfortable. If you know English, speak in English. If you are speaking in Hindi, speak in Hindi, that is your mother tongue. So mother tongue becomes the priority. Mother tongue is important. Then most of the time we are able to speak out what we want to say. So language preferably should be where you are able to express yourself. And the next is called language is mother tongue, where you are expressive. First express. Now you may get a point. If I express in my language, the others will not follow. What is the point in speaking? First you speak in the language you are comfortable. Then the second point comes where you use gestures, where you use your facial expressions, you have said. It is easy to say things, but it is difficult to ask for things. कहना आसान है, मांगना बड़ा मुश्किल है. Suppose you don't understand, why can't you ask? Ask the people in the group. What is she saying? What is he saying? I'm not able to follow. There is no harm in asking. Even if you sound foolish, doesn't matter. Ask. Dr. Pasi always used to say, even if you sound foolish, but you do not follow, please ask. No matter how childlike the question is, how childish even at times, foolish तुम्हारे लिए है, मेरे लिए नहीं है. So even if it is childish or childlike, ask the question if you are not able to follow. Second is language. Third is agenda. What is the agenda of the day? When you are making your paper presentation, we will not talk about agenda in details, because at this point in time, agenda is the topic of the conference plus the paper that you have brought for presentation. So the agenda of the day you make, that is the agenda. This is rule number 3. Rule number 4, all are chairpersons. It is not that when you are making a paper presentation through a dialogue, you are making different, you are playing different roles. You are the presenter, you are the audience, and you are the chairperson. Playing these roles from time to time. Sometimes you are the speaker, sometimes you are the chairperson, sometimes you are the presenter. But you are playing all these roles from time to time. So all are chairpersons. Number 4. Number 5 is flexi timing. Time is important, is true. And we are also running out of time. So I must now quicken up. We have only 1 hour and we have to do a lot. Time is important, but we are not to become slaves of time. समय के गुलाम होना हमें नहीं है. समय महत्वपूर्ण है, ये सच है. So time is important, but we are not to be slaves. So what do? We use flexi timing. Flexi मतलब कि समय में लचीला में कितना समय देना है, ये आप डिसाइड करोगे जब आप पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन करोगे. So flexi timing. And the last is called dynamic conclusions. Generally, you have a meeting. By the end of the meeting, you have noted down the minutes and everything is ready. The meeting ends and the minutes are sent to each other. In dialogue mode of paper presentation, if you have why do we call dynamic? So that it can be fluid. If we come to a conclusion, we will be sharing with other people and getting stimulated socially, or you can be reflecting yourself. So you will be reflecting and you will be getting socially stimulated. That is why we call it dynamic paper presentation or dynamic conclusions. उसी समय मिल जाए, कोई conclusion हो जाए, important नहीं है. हो जाए तो ठीक है, नहीं हो तो भी ठीक है. Later on we will be doing it. So these are the 6 process rules. First, I will quickly, can anyone tell me what are the 6 rules? 1, कोई भी बोले. Very good. Number 2,
language. Because you are comfortable.
Yes. Number 3,
agenda.
Yes. Agenda.
Agenda क्योंकि आपका topic of the presentation जो आप करोगे वो topic of the day होगा, जो पेपर लिख के लाए हो. Number 4,
all are chairpersons.
Very good. All are chairpersons. And number 5,
Flexi timings.
Flexing timing का मतलब क्या है? Flexi timing.
बाउंड नहीं होना है हमें.
Very good. बाउंड नहीं होना है, लेकिन समय समय पे कितना लचीलापन रखना है, कहाँ रखना है, वो आप डिसाइड करोगे. You've got to ration.
डिसाइड करना है.
हाँ, you have to ration your time. That is important. And what is the last?
Dynamic conclusion.
Dynamic conclusion का मतलब क्या है? Dynamic conclusion का मतलब क्या है?
Being active.
Being active.
अलग-अलग conclusions हो सकते हैं.
नहीं बेटा, अभी आप समझे नहीं. डायनेमिक कंक्लूजन का मतलब होता है कि जब आप उसको कंक्लूड करके पूरा उसको लिख नहीं देते हो कि बना लिए मिनट्स ही, आप उस पर रिफ्लेक्शन, चिंतन मनन करो जो भी आपकी मीटिंग हुई है, और एक दूसरे से पूछो, भाई वहां पे डायलॉग में ऐसा ऐसा कहा था, आपका क्या कहना है. इसको सोशल स्टिमुलेशन कहते हैं, जब एक दूसरे से प्रभावित होकर आप कुछ नया निकालते हैं. That is called dynamic conclusions. So I presume कि ये 6 dialogue process आपको समझ में आ गए, process rules आपको समझ में आ गए, which we will follow. Now the next.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes.
And please repeat the 4th point once again, ma'am.
4th point is flexi timing. Flexi timing. समय में लचीलापन. अगर मैं पूछूं बेटा तुम्हारा नाम क्या है?
जी मैम, कविता लाडवाल.
नहीं वो ठीक है. अगर मैं पूछूं तो आपने कितना टाइम लिया इसमें? 1 मिनट लिया बताने में या कुछ सेकंड लिए, राइट? मेरा नाम है कविता. आपने 1-2 सेकंड लिया और आपने नाम बता दिया। अगर मैं कहूँ भाई कविता तुम कहाँ से रहती हो, तुम्हारी हॉबीज क्या है, तुम्हारा नाम क्या है, तुम कहाँ, बैकग्राउंड क्या है तुम्हारा, व्हाट आर योर इंटरेस्ट, व्हाट आर योर हैबिट्स, व्हाट आर योर लाइक्स, व्हाट आर योर एडवांटेजेस, व्हाट आर, एंड इतने सारी चीजें पूछेंगे, उसमें क्या 1-2 सेकंड ही लगेंगे, ज्यादा लगेगा?
थोड़ा सा टाइम लग जाएगा मैम, थोड़ा सा।
हाँ, टाइम लग, इसी को कहते हैं फ्लेक्सी टाइमिंग है। आपको डिसाइड करना है जब आप पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन करेंगे, जब आप साइकिल्स को फॉलो करेंगे।
ओके
अब हो गया क्लियर? Okay.
जी मैम, thank you मैम.
Okay, so these are the process rules and you are all clear with it. I'm very happy that you are all paying attention. Now we come to into 2. 2 जो है ये है आपके general tools which we will follow throughout the mode of paper presentation through dialogue. And what are these 2? First is called IQ. IQ का मतलब होता है instant questioning. हमने कुछ बोला, आपने तुरंत पूछा, मैडम ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, क्या है इसका मतलब, क्या है वो, क्या आया उसी समय टोक के, जब तुम हमको रोक के बोलते हो, हमको टोक के, हमको रोक के बोलते हो कि इसका मतलब क्या है, दैट इज कॉल्ड IQ, इंस्टेंट क्वेश्चनिंग। तुरंत पूछो तो आपके मन में आएगा नहीं, हम पूछ तो लें पर आपका तो चेन ऑफ थिंकिंग जो है वो टूट जाएगा, योर चेन विल ब्रेक। ये ऐसा मानना है कि ये गलत है आपकी सोच। Brain has the ability to adapt, to adjust to whatever is given. कभी कभी किसी के घर में बहुत सीरियस बीमार होता है ना, उनको कैंसर हो गया, मरने की स्टेज है। My son is a neurologist and he says, Mama, you can immediately, ये कंडीशन है, ये स्थिति है, सब कुछ। अब लोग कहते नहीं, उनको छुपा के रखो, उनको बताओ मैं तो ऐसे ऐसे, उनका क्या हाल होगा, वो जीते जी मर जाएंगे। कोई नहीं मरता है, because the brain is able to take it and adjust accordingly. तो वही ये है IQ, instant questioning। आपने पूछा, I don't get disturbed, I still know how to go on with my chain of thinking, there is no difficulty at all. So please don't presume that if I am going to ask an IQ question, but remember it is not leg pulling, no leg pulling is allowed. आप उसमें पूछिए और आगे बढ़िए, genuine question, query होनी चाहिए। Then the next is called CCC. Now what is this CCC? CCC का मतलब है where we have compare, contrast and create. You are not sitting there like a fool. What are you doing? You are mentally examining. मैम ने ये बोला तो मैंने जो पेपर लिखा है उसमें ये क्या क्या चीज आई है, क्या नहीं है। You're trying to compare. Then you're trying to contrast. Compare का मतलब compare करके आप, how am I similar? How am I different? Sorry, and how can some new insight, you may get a new insight, and that is called creating. So you have CCC, compare, contrast, create. Okay. Then the next 3, ये 3 हो गए, ये 2 tools clear हो गए, where we have ICC as compare, contrast and create. Then the first 3 is 3 aspects, WWH, what, why, how. What is my topic? Why this topic? How did I come to the conclusion to take up this topic? And so on and so forth. Right? So we have 3 aspects, or you can say 3 dimensions, WWH. What, why, how. ये इसको भी थ्रू आउट लगता है, कहीं पे what ज्यादा लगता है, कहीं पे W ज्यादा लगता है, कहीं पे H ज्यादा लगता है। मेथोडोलॉजी जब करें तो बस उस पे हम आने वाले हैं, तो इसलिए हम जल्दी कर रहे हैं क्योंकि I want to concentrate more on the 6 cycles of paper presentation. Then the next 3 is called 3 phases of time: past, present and future. When you wrote your paper, which you have brought for presentation, you consulted some encyclopedias, some earlier studies that have the review of literature किया होगा आपने, कि लिटरेचर देखा, उसमें क्या क्या निकला, क्या क्या नहीं निकला. All that is your past knowledge लेके आ रहे हो. प्रेजेंट में अभी जो आप यहाँ पे बैठ के डायलॉग करोगे, उसमें क्या हम क्रिएट करें. And we do not end there. We have something called the futures, where you have a vision, where you have a dream. Now, when you have a dream and a vision, that is called your futures. So past is important, your present is important, and your future is important too. These are called the 3 phases of time. And now we come to the 6 cycles of paper presentation. But I will give you a quick recap of all these 6 into 2 into 3 into 3. Just listen. Paper presentation. Process rules 6. जो पहला 6 है वो है sit in a circle, speak in a language in which you are expressive and comfortable, using the body language, your expressions, and so on. Agenda of the day is the topic or the paper that you have brought for presentation. All our chairpersons means that you are playing the different roles of a speaker, of a presenter or speaker, or the audience, and the chairperson or the leadership that you will take up. Then you have flexi timings, where you will be rationing your time, when to use, how much to use, and when to ration your. And the last is dynamic conclusion. Back home, you will be stimulated by interacting with other people, calling it social stimulation, and also that reflecting what we have learned. Okay, so these are the 6 process rules. Then we have 2 general tools, IQ, CCC, instant questioning, and compare, contrast, and H, what, why, how. 3 phases of time where we have past, present, and futures. And now we concentrate for whatever time we have, 50 minutes that we have, on cycles of paper presentation. So please concentrate on this, because this is where you are required to be thorough in your learning. Now, the first cycle is called the readiness cycle. मैं पहले ओवरव्यू दे रही हूँ, फिर डिटेल्स में जाऊंगी. तो 6 साइकिल्स क्या हैं? पहला है रेडीनेस साइकिल, सेकंड इज कॉल्ड टाइटल साइकिल, थर्ड इज कॉल्ड मेथोडोलॉजी साइकिल, फोर्थ इज कॉल्ड फाइंडिंग्स कंक्लूजन recommendation cycle, and the 6th is called reflection cycle. With this overview, we will now be going deep into each cycle. Number 1 is called readiness cycle. जो first cycle है उसको readiness cycle कहते हैं. When you are sitting in, I will take up 6. 6 या 8 होने चाहिए एक cycle में. You can have 6 or 8 people in a cycle, in a group. In a cycle, nahi, sorry, I'm not saying cycle, it is group. When you are sitting in a group, sit in a group, hai na? So you should be taking 6 or 8. I will now take up 6. Suppose 6 are sitting in a group. So the others, of course, now we are having virtual mode. तो इसमें क्या करेंगे हम? Virtual mode. आपका virtual mode से तो नहीं हो रहा है कि virtual से हो रहा है? बताइए, are you having your conference?
वर्चुअल मोड से हो रहा है मैम.
हाँ, नहीं वो तो मैं चेक कर रही हूँ कि आप सो तो नहीं रहे हैं, मुझे तो पता है. So I was just wanting to know. Okay, so जब वर्चुअल मोड से आपका हो रहा है तो आप सामने तो बैठे नहीं हैं, दिख रहे हैं हमको. So what will you say? You will say sit in a circle. वहाँ पे नहीं होगा बेटा, वहाँ पे क्या होगा? Please switch on your videos. So when you switch on your videos, 6 लोग अपने जो जिस ग्रुप में होंगे, जिस कमरे में होंगे, जहाँ पे भी उनको जगह बिठाई होगी, बताया होगा कि ये 6 लोग इकट्ठे बैठेंगे. Your videos, switch on your videos. That is what is to be done in virtual mode. Number 1. So readiness, when you are going to sit for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever time is given will be bulk time that is given to you for paper presentation. अब देखिए मैं क्या कह रही हूँ, 1 घंटा 2 घंटा 3 घंटे दे सकते हैं हम 5 मिनट 2 मिनट 1 मिनट नहीं देंगे. जहाँ पे आप स्टेज पे जाके जल्दी जल्दी बोलेंगे, जब तक आपने घबराहट में मुंह खोला तब तक आपका टाइम भी हो गया, अब जाओ। तो और भी घबराहट होती है कि भाई अभी तो हमने बोला ही नहीं, अभी हमको जाने का टाइम हो गया। यहाँ पे तो हम आपको कहेंगे जाओ, तो आप कहोगे नहीं हम तो अभी। So now when I'm saying readiness cycle, it is to get rid of your hesitations, your inhibitions, people coming from different backgrounds, people not knowing each other, from different institutions with different kind of knowledge, information, different kind of views, holding views. I'm not interested in politics, but someone may be very interested. I'm interested in Shah Rukh Khan, you may be interested in Amir Khan, or whatever. So like that, we have to be ready. Readiness means getting rid of your inhibitions. अब ये कुछ नहीं, ये बैकग्राउंड के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि हमें 2-3 घंटे। Why readiness is important? For a great start, if we do not have this, we'll be sitting like this. हमको पता ही नहीं है कौन है ये कौन है, उसका looking at each other, like with what. So what you have to do is, if you want to mix, learn and participate and create something new, you have to have the readiness cycle. This is not the academic. The rest 5 are academic cycles. This is background building cycle. You can call it like that, but very important. So readiness में आप सबसे एक दूसरे, who has come from where, what are the likes, what are the dislikes, what are your habits, what have you brought, what do you like to eat, what do you not like to eat, and so on, like a little gossip. समझ में आया ना, gossip important था, gossip important नहीं है, dialogue नहीं हमने बोला था, but यहाँ पे थोड़ा important है. Okay, so we just talk very light talk, and then that is the first cycle called the readiness cycle. Is it clear? Clear? मैं साथ साथ पूछ रही हूँ अब. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Number 2 is your title cycle. Title cycle is divided into 2 parts. First part is where you will be giving just the title of your paper. One is where you give the title of your paper. Speaker number 1 बोलेगा अपना title. The title of my paper is ta 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 ta. And then we'll say pass. उसने बता दिया, पास बोल दिया. पास बोलना जरूरी है ताकि पता चले कि आपने अपनी बात को खत्म कर दिया है. Then comes the next speaker. The next speaker will, or the next presenter will give the paper title of the paper. My paper is this. Pass. Then the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the 6th. 6th ने बोला my paper is titled this. You will down. What have you done? You have done the first part of a title cycle. Title is your second cycle. Title cycle is second cycle. What was the first cycle? पहला क्या था?
Readiness.
Yes. So first was readiness cycle. Now comes the title cycle. और title cycle में भी first part क्या था? Just give the title. No other thing. तो सिर्फ अपना title बता देना है. पहले बताया पास, सेकंड बताया, 6th पे आ गए. First title cycle का part 1 finish. Part 2 क्या है? Objectives है पेपर लिखने के. कुछ research questions हैं. You have written your paper having some objectives, some hypotheses, some research questions. So whatever you have done, you have to discuss that. The objective of my paper is this. Pass. Then the next, then the hypothesis of my paper is this. Some may be having objectives, some may be having hypotheses, some research questions, no problems. Whatever you have, just speak out that, give a pass, and the next person speaks, and the 6th one speaks. Your title cycle is over. Now, if one hypothesis, 2 hypotheses, share all. मेरा objective है, मेरा objective 1 है ये, 2 है ये, 3 है ये, तीनों बता दिए, pass. My research questions are number 1, 2, 3, pass. So the 6 will pass. So 1 and 2. Title cycle part 1, part 2 both over. Clear hai? Clear hai? Okay, so we go to the next cycle, which is called cycle number 3. Now you will see how you have to ration your time. Readiness में कितना time देना था? Flexi timing. और टाइटल में भी टाइटल बताने में और टाइटल का पार्ट 2 जो था ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बताने में कितना समय देना है. Now you come to methodology, which will obviously take more time. तो वो हम नहीं बताएंगे, हम तो आपको कह देंगे we are giving you 2 hours. Now make your paper presentation. You in a group have to decide how much time to give to vehicle. Number 3 is called methodology cycle. Methodology cycle, when you are taking up methodology cycle, आपके tools क्या हैं? आपने data collection कैसे किया है? उसका analysis कैसे किया है? मतलब जो कुछ तुमने किया है वो सब बताओगे उसमें एक एक करके. Number 1, ग्रुप में बैठे हैं 6. फर्स्ट वाले ने बताया the sample of my study is only 1. तुम कहोगे 1 कैसे हो सकता है? 1 इसलिए क्योंकि हमने केस स्टडी करा है, एक पे ही केस स्टडी करा है. अगर तुमने कहा कि my sample is this much, मेरा नहीं, या पहले डिजाइन ले लो, जो भी लेना है, सैंपल, डिजाइन, एनालिसिस एक एक करके लेना है. When all have shared their design, then all will share their sample, then all will go on doing. बताया, पास किया, बताया, पास किया, बताया, पास किया, 6 ने बता दिया. फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट चीज लोगे, फिर नेक्स्ट चीज लोगे कि हमने अपना जो है एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टडी किया तो हमने ये किया, ये किया, ऐसे किया. Now listen carefully. Your study may not be a experimental study. जिन्होंने ये किया और हम आ गए. You might be having, अभी भी आपको फीलिंग हो रही होगी, but madam, my paper is conceptual, my paper is philosophical. उसमें क्या करेंगे? उसमें तो कोई साइकिल ही नहीं है, आगे तो कुछ बताने का है ही नहीं, है ना? डॉक्टर पासी used to say, मरने का भी एक तरीका होता है, हर चीज का तरीका होता है. How did you collect your data? आपने जब कंसेप्चुअलाइज किया तो आपने कुछ एनसाइक्लोपीडियाज, कुछ एक दूसरे से डिस्कशंस, कुछ इंटरव्यूज लिए होंगे, कुछ तो किया होगा. क्या है? वही तुम्हारे सैंपल को किस तरह से तुम आगे ले गए हो, क्या किया है तुमने, वो सारा बताया है. उसको तुमने कितनी किताबें पढ़ डाली. टैगोर पे हमने, बताओ, तुमने कहा द फिलॉसफी और टैगोर्स गीतांजलि राइटिंग, मान लो आपने कहा, तो उनका आपने कितनी किताबें पढ़ी होंगी, टैगोर की पढ़ी होंगी, उससे रिलेटेड पढ़ी होंगी, जो पहले रिसर्चेज हुई होंगी वो सब पढ़ा होगा. whatever you have done, whatever data, however you have collected, that is how you have now going to share. तो ऐसे मत बोलो कि जो फिलोसॉफिकल है या कंसेप्चुअल है उसमें कोई भी मेथोडोलॉजी नहीं होती है. तुमने जो किया बस वही मेथोडोलॉजी है, चाहे वो एक्सपेरिमेंटल हो चाहे कुछ हो. Please remember, right from beginning, रेडिनेस साइकिल से लेके टाइटल साइकिल से लेके और मेथोडोलॉजी साइकिल में हर जगह पे आप अपने +2 यूज कर रहे हो. +2 क्या है? टूल्स. तुम्हारे टॉपिक तो ठीक है, पर टॉपिक में वो वर्ड हमको समझ में नहीं आया, उसी वक्त रोक के पूछा.
IQ.
वेरी गुड, IQ बोलो. फिर CCC करो. You've got to go on doing all this and all the cycles every time, all the time. You have to be very alert. ये नहीं कि एक बार ही कर लिया, अब हम तो बैठ गए, हमको हमारा काम हो गया. No, you've got to go on doing it all the time, all the time, all the time, but with a genuine query. No leg pulling and no making fun of each other. We are collaborating, we are not competing with each other, remember that. तो अब ये मेथोडोलॉजी साइकिल हो गया नंबर 3. नंबर 4 है आपका फाइंडिंग्स, कंक्लूजन्स या एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स. आपने क्या लिखा है, कैसे लिखा है, वो हमें नहीं पता है. आप उसको फाइंडिंग्स कह सकते हो, आप उसको कंक्लूजन्स कह सकते हो, उसको आप कह सकते हो एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स हमारे ये होंगे जी. written, now you have to share that. मेरे पेपर के, मेरे सैंपल की मैंने वो एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टडी करी मैडम, तो उसके बाद ना हमारा ना ये कंक्लूजन्स हुए, हमारी ये फाइंडिंग्स आई हैं. द गर्ल्स आर बेटर देन द बॉयज, द रूरल पीपल आर बेटर और द अर्बन पीपल आर नॉट सो गुड एज द रूरल वंस. जो भी तुमने किया, मुझे नहीं पता क्या किया तुमने, तुम्हारा टॉपिक क्या हमें वो भी नहीं पता है. Whatever you have done, you are going to share your findings. Number 1 says, my findings are 1, 2, 3. ये सारी मेरी पास, उसकी 3 फाइंडिंग्स थी. अगले ने कंक्लूजन बोला कि the conclusion of my studies is number only 1. तो वो अपने बता देगा. एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स ये हैं, हमने तो एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स लिखा है, हमारा तो कोई कंक्लूजन ही नहीं है. अब घबराना मत, कंक्लूजन यही है तुम्हारा, एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स जो हैं तुम्हारे कि फ्यूचर्स में इम्प्लीकेशंस क्या होंगे, वही तुम्हारा कंक्लूजन है. तो वो करने के बाद आपने जब ये ले लिया तो आप अपना बताओगे हमारे कंक्लूजन्स ये हैं. तो किसी का 1 होगा, किसी का 2 होगा, किसी के 10 होंगे, किसी के 5 होंगे. जो भी कंक्लूजन्स हैं वो अपने बताए पास किया, अपने बताए पास किया, नंबर 6 पे आ गए. नाउ दिस इज, आपके पसीने ऐसे वाले छूटेंगे, ऐसे वाले. ये भी 2 पार्ट्स में होगा. नंबर 1, आपने अपने कंक्लूजन्स जो घर से लिख के लाए हो, जो तुमने किए थे वो लिख के लाए हो, उनको शेयरिंग करी. You've shared the conclusions which you brought from your home when you did the study and when you wrote the study. This is called I findings. कोर्स में रखो I findings. I finding मतलब मेरी फाइंडिंग. वो तुम्हारे नंबर 2 वाली की फाइंडिंग नहीं है, नंबर 6 वाली की फाइंडिंग नहीं है. इट इज माई फाइंडिंग एंड वी कॉल इट आई फाइंडिंग्स. ठीक है, क्लियर? Now from I findings we have to go to step number 2 where we create the V findings. मैडम ये क्या है, ये तो बड़ा बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हो गया. ये V findings क्या है? अभी देखो, वेरी इजी. आपने 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 हम सबको पूल करके इकट्ठी कर ली. एक जना नोट कर लो. कुल मिला के हमारी आ गई, मान लो कि ग्रुप में 6 लोगों की हैं, हमारी 8 आ गई, 10 आ गई, 15 आ गई, कितनी कंक्लूजन्स आ गई, उन सबको तुमने नोट कर लिया. Now once you have noted these, उनके बेसिस पे अब तुम V फाइंडिंग्स निकालोगे. V मतलब एज अ ग्रुप. डायलॉग इज वर्किंग इन अ ग्रुप. डायलॉग इज सिंथेसाइजिंग. उस समय समझ नहीं आ रहा था सिंथेसाइजिंग कैसे होता है. इसको कहते हैं सिंथेसाइज करना. जब हम उसको इकट्ठा करके एक पॉइंट पे लाते हैं उसको हम कहते हैं सिंथेसाइज करना. हम उसको अलग नहीं कर रहे हैं, कन्वर्स नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम उसको इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं, ला रहे हैं इकट्ठा. वी आर ब्रिंगिंग इट टुगेदर. Now it is so difficult. It is so difficult because my study is something else, the other person studies something else. No matter, we have to be together. रेडियो में कभी कड़कड़ होती है ना, तो क्या करते हो, फाइन ट्यून करते हो ना, वैसे इससे भी फाइन ट्यून करना है. सारी we have to take all the I findings and we have to concentrate on making it into V findings. I can understand it is very difficult, but it is not impossible. That is where your creativity will now come in. That is where your innovation will come in. That is where your insight We don't want hundreds and hundreds of pages of your V findings. Even if you can draw out one V finding or two V findings, superb. Minimum one तो होना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि मैडम हमारे यहाँ तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. We are zero. It cannot be, and we will not allow that. So you can have minimum one, or you can have 2, 3, 4, whatever. If you are very creative and you are all very participative. And remember, in dialogue, if you are not participating, it is going to be very boring for you. If you are going to be very, very participative, you will never want to end up. But you've got to be very concentrated. You have to be very serious on one side and very playful on the other. डरना नहीं है, लड़ना नहीं है. I told you in the beginning, you don't have to fight and you don't have to fear anything. So you have to be very playful like a child, not childish. हम कह रहे नहीं foolish बनो, हम कह रहे child like, बच्चे की तरह innocent रहो. और दूसरी साइड पे हम क्या कह रहे हैं, playful के साथ साथ क्या कह रहे हैं, बिल्कुल serious रहो, आइंस्टाइन की तरह serious, कि हमें कुछ नया निकालना है. That is where your V findings will come in and something new will come up. I findings, you draw out V findings. Now, when you draw out V findings, I findings become redundant. अब I finding की कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. No need to have I findings. What will you have now? You will have V findings only. तो इस point के आगे I finding का कोई महत्व नहीं है. And now what we are going to do is we are going to concentrate on V findings, Venus पे. Remember, dialogue takes you to Venus. It does you to Venus. Group में इकट्ठे करने की कला सिखाता है कौन? Dialogue. Synthesize कराता है कौन? Dialogue. तो ये क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट फाइंडिंग्स का. नंबर 4. नंबर 5, अभी देखिए नंबर 5 आगे, recommendations. Recommendation cycles will again be into 3-4 parts, ऐसे जितने भी पॉइंट्स बना लो. Number 1, your recommendations will be 6 लोग बैठे हैं ना, they are the policy makers. And they are going to draw out policies which they are going to give to the Education Minister of India. वो सेंटर पे भेजेंगे, गवर्नमेंट को देंगे कि हमारे रिकमेंडेशंस ये हैं, ऐसे करो. मतलब आपको उतनी सीरियसनेस से काम करना है. रिकमेंडेशंस उस तरह की देनी है ताकि हम गेरा में भी अपने आप के रिकमेंडेशंस को लेके हम उसको आगे फर्दर लेके जा सकें. So you've got to be very serious from methodology onwards. अब देखिए कितना समय किस साइकिल पे कितना फ्लेक्सी टाइमिंग हो रहा है. How you are rationing your time, how much में कितना टाइम लगा और वी में कितना लगा. 1 साल लगा कि थोड़ा ज्यादा कम लगा? Tell me. Tell me anyone.
मैम स्टार्टिंग में कम टाइम लगा, बाद में जैसे फाइंडिंग्स या रिकमेंडेशंस पे आ जाते हैं तो हमारा ज्यादा टाइम लगता है.
नहीं, पर रिकमेंडेशंस में कौन सी रिकमेंडेशंस, वी वाली कि आई वाली?
वी वाली पे मैम.
वी वाली पे ज्यादा समय लगेगा. इट इज ऑब्वियस बिकॉज स्टडीज सबकी अलग अलग है, डाइवर्स स्टडीज है. एंड आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट कि जो भी यहाँ पे ग्रुप में बैठाए जाएं वो सब थीम्स के हिसाब से ना बैठाए जाएं. वासी साहब हमेशा कहते थे कि मिक्स सब थीम का एक लो, दूसरे का दूसरी लो, तीसरे का लो, चौथे का लो. When the diverse group is sitting, then we creativity comes when we तब होता है. नहीं तो अगर एक ही ग्रुप के सबको बैठा दोगे ना तो आपका कंडीशन माइंड आपको कुछ नया कुछ करने ही नहीं देगा. कंडीशन माइंड बड़ा स्मार्ट है, वो कहता कुछ नहीं करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, बस ऐसे ही कर लेते हैं किसी. तो इसलिए प्लीज मेक योर पीपल सिट फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सब थीम्स. Do not make them sit together of the same theme. It is my special request. Dr. Pasi always wanted diverse group होए, जिससे create Okay, so now we come to recommendation cycle जो हम लोग ले रहे थे. Your recommendations will be based on your future past, जो आप लेके आए हो. पास्ट आपका क्या था, मतलब जो भी आपने स्टडी करी है अपने पेपर लिखने में, पास्ट डेटा जो कलेक्ट किया था, what has been your past, उसके हिसाब से आप recommendations करेंगे. आप बताएंगे, जब आप बता रहे हैं, शेयरिंग करेंगे. When you are sharing, you will be talking that this is my past. When I was writing my paper, I consulted that and I consulted that and I had interview with that. This is number one. Number two, you will be talking about V findings, क्योंकि वो तुम्हारा present है. Present क्या है, तुमने अभी अभी create किया है अपना V finding. I finding का तो आपको कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. जब V finding आ गई तो I खत्म हो गया. V findings say you have to now concentrate on V findings, that is your present, which you have just created. And your futures will be, your recommendations होंगे आपकी futures. हमारी dreams है मैडम कि ऐसा ऐसा हो जाए इंडिया में. हमारा dreams है हमारे कॉलेज में ऐसा ऐसा. तो तब होगा ना जब तुम ऐसे ऐसे करोगे. अगर तुम ड्रीम ही नहीं करोगे, तुम विजन ही नहीं बनाओगे, तो कुछ नहीं होगा. You've got to be very visionary. अगले 5 साल में ऐसा होना चाहिए, अगले 1 साल में ऐसा होना चाहिए, अगले 1 हफ्ते में ऐसा होना चाहिए. Whatever you are going to make is going to be your futures. So your recommendations will be on the basis of your present, your past, your present, and your futures. And remember also, on the basis of your socio-economic, cultural background. बड़े एक्साइटेड हो गए और कह दिया सबको, दुनिया में जितने भी हमारे दुनिया में, मतलब हमारी दुनिया जितनी है इंडिया में, सबको दे दो, सबको कंप्यूटर दे दो. वो जो लास्ट मैन है ग्रास रूट वाला उसको भी दे दो, और जो यहाँ पे बैठे हैं सिटी में उनको भी दे दो, सबको. कैन वी अफोर्ड टू डू दैट? इज इट पॉसिबल दैट वी डू दैट? नो, वी नॉट. तो आपके जो फ्यूचर्स में जो विजनरी या जो अपने ड्रीम लाइक आपके विजन्स हैं, जो आप मटेरियलाइज तो करो, पर साथ साथ डूएबल भी होना चाहिए. अपने कल्चर को देखो, अपने इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस को देखो, अपने बैकग्राउंड को देखो, और उसके आधार पर ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर सोशियो इकोनॉमिक कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड ट्राई टू मेक गिव डूएबल, जो कि हम प्रैक्टिस में ला सकें. हम अगर हम कोई ऐसा दे दें रिकमेंडेशंस जो कि डूएबल ना हो और प्रैक्टिस ही ना कर सकें, तो इट हैज नो मीनिंग. And put it into practice in the society, do that, but keeping in mind your socio-economic cultural background. These are your recommendations. And finally we come to the last cycle called the reflections cycle. Reflection cycles again divided into 2. जो reflections है ये provide करता है हमको एक structured opportunity individuals और groups को इकट्ठा करने के लिए. तुम आए तो थे अकेले अकेले, ग्रुप में बैठ गए, ग्रुप सिट इन अ सर्कल हो गए, तुम दुकोले दुकोले तुकोले तुकोले चकोले चकोले पंचोले हो गए, है ना, सब इकट्ठे हो गए इन अ ग्रुप. तो वो जो 6 इकट्ठे हो गए, you become a group. It is structured on one hand, but it is giving you an opportunity to perform on the other. So when you are doing this, you are going to be reflecting on your own life and on the life which you are creating now as a group. तो ये बहुत important है कि ग्रुप में हम कैसे काम करें, किस तरह से इकट्ठे चल सकते हैं, कदम से कदम मिला के चल सकते हैं कि नहीं, या एक दूसरे की टांगे खींचते रहेंगे. जैसे वो कहते हैं ना पीएचडी का मतलब क्या है डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा? पुल हिम डाउन. ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं, पर हमें वो नहीं करना है डायलॉग में, हमें तो रिकमेंडेशंस करनी है. तो एक तो जब आपने अपना पेपर लिखा था वो लिख के लाए थे, और जो तुम्हारी इनसाइट तब थी, और ये डायलॉग के 6 साइकिल्स करने के बाद with your 6 into 2 into 3 into 3 into 6 जो आपने फॉर्मूला फॉलो किया है, Are you still the same, or is there been any difference in your learning? Learning में कुछ ज़्यादा हुआ है, कम हुआ है? ये आपका एक पार्ट हुआ रिफ्लेक्शंस का. और रिफ्लेक्शन का दूसरा पार्ट है डायलॉग से रिलेटेड. Who would want to do dialogue as a paper presenting innovation approach or not? आपको पसंद आया तो क्यों आया? ऐसे मत कह दो नहीं मैडम मुझे तो बड़ा पसंद आया, मुझे इतना अच्छा लग रहा है, मैं क्या करूं. ऐसा मैं कुछ मत करो. तुम ठीक से मनन करो, चिंतन करो. ये करो कि डायलॉग है अच्छा कि नहीं अच्छा है. अच्छा है तो क्यों है, नहीं अच्छा है तो क्यों नहीं अच्छा है. और अगर आपको कुछ नई लर्निंग हुई है, नई इंसाइट हुई है, तो वही पेपर जो आप लिख के लाए हो, the paper that you have brought today for paper presentation, and write the same paper in a new way is reflection, is your new insight, is your new learning. Can you do that? If you can do that, then you have been a successful reflector and a participator of dialogue mode of paper presentation. With these words, I would now quickly do a recap कि आपका जो 6 cycles of paper presentation है, वो है, the first cycle is readiness cycle. The second is called the title, where you have again 2 parts. Title बताओ, objectives or hypothesis research question. One, where you call the methodology cycle, आपका design, sample, आपके tools, analysis, data collection, कैसे क्या किया, all that will come. Then you have your next cycle, which is called your findings cycle, where you have I findings, and those become redundant the moment you create your V findings. V findings become important, and we go with V findings till the end. Then you have your 5th cycle called the recommendation cycle, where you have your past, present, futures, keeping in mind your socio-economic status and conditions of the country. And finally, you have the on the reflections on your new learnings of the theme of the paper. जो idea bankruptcy हुई है, उसमें कुछ नई सीख हुई है कि जैसे थे आए उससे भी खराब हो गया है. तो अगर नया अच्छा कुछ हो गया है तो क्या हो गया है. और dialogue as a mode of paper presentation आपको अच्छा लगा है, क्योंकि आपने तो बहुत सारी conferences, workshops, seminars, webinars किए होंगे. ये 2-3 साल में कोरोना ने करा दिया आपको. तो उसमें क्या आपकी लर्निंग और ये डायलॉग जो आपने किया उसकी लर्निंग में कुछ नया हुआ है? इफ यस, व्हाट इज इट? इफ better dialogue approach. So thank you very much. God bless you. If you have any questions, any queries, any observations, we still have another 20 minutes. You can put me questions and we will try to answer.
I have one clarification question. Hello.
Yes.
I was listening to the lecture. It was very interesting and impressive. And this method is new for me at least. But my question is that because this method focuses on the group dynamics, that's what I'm understanding. The issues related to the group dynamics. Some people might speak more and less speak, and people don't speak. So those kinds of issues will create major, and some people may play an upper hand, and they can even challenge their ideas, or they can push their own ideas to come into V findings. Then, people are very different. So from that perspective, how can we tackle those elements? This is one doubt which came to my mind.
Okay. Now, Matthews, this is an excellent observation and very good. And I appreciate that. About the dynamics and all those things, group dynamics is okay. Now, what is important is, you see, when you are doing dialogue, I told you in the beginning that we have to concentrate on listening, not speaking. Your dialogue fails if you are you are the only speaker. Because in the beginning it will happen. Why? Because your ego will not be satisfied. it is not satisfying my ego when I am doing. Understand my co-partner. That is where because if your ego will always help you, will push you down and will make you feel like I am the one and no one else knows anything. When you are into that kind of thing, where you are only have been a speaker all your life, teachers have that habit, all the life I've been a speaker, now how can I be a listener? Listening is a skill and a better skill, because that will take you deep down to your heart. Dialogue is not only mental, it is taking you to the heart. You have to create peace and calm. Rid of or let go your ego. Let go of your ego if you're not doing. Then you are speaking too much. And you are hurting other people unconsciously. And trying to show that, oh, I'm a superior person and you have nothing, you have no knowledge, I am not interested in your scholarship. I'm interested in building relationships. Right? Dialogue will mean building relationships. Let go. If you are not doing that, then your dialogue will fail. Now, suppose you said how to tackle this. You are 6 in a group. Number 4, I'm just, presuming, number 4 is a big talker. Will not stop. They will not stop, go on and not give a chance to the other people. But they are in the habit of talking. So what can we do? Now you, being very smart as a teacher, as a new learner of dialogue, what will you do? You will stopping, and we have to ration our time also. So what to do? You will intervene. Very smartly, diplomatically, you will intervene. And what will you say? You will say, I can see Mr. So-and-so talking and his point is correct. And whatever points he has made is very good. But at the same time, Meenakshi, what do you think? Now see how strategically से कैसे अलग ले गए. उनको चुप करा दिया और मीनाक्षी से पूछ लिया. So this person has no option but to keep quiet now. And you would not root. Very good, you made your points, very good. But you have to be very smart in intervening. You don't say, you stop now, you fool, you have been talking for so long, enough is enough. You can do that. But that is not dialogue.
Yeah, but,
I told you, 1 second, I told you.
Madam, मैं
1 minute, 1 second, मैं अभी आपके पास आती हूँ. You can disagree is okay, but you can help करें.
हाँ, मैं यही बोल रहा था कि जब आदमी अकेला रहता है, वो बिहेव उसका अलग रहता है. When a man is alone, he is in the group. He has to behave with the group. One thing. Second thing is that it is a fixed that there are in cycle. It is ma'am has clearly told that one has to tell his title or her title. Then he or she should say pass. Then only title should be there will be. Then the second person, third person. Then afterwards methodology. Only that point, to that point, that other person has a right to speak. And so amongst them. And so this question may or may not be arise. That's my point.
Well, when we do dialogue, there is something. This is the basic that you are going to do. There is something called talking stick. We limit the time and we give you a talking stick. Suppose this is the stick that, and talking stick means you are holding that talking stick. And as long as you are talking, holding the stick, only you can talk only up to that time. और फिर आपको 1 मिनट में ऐसे करके दूसरे को देना ही है. 1 मिनट का टाइम मान लो कि आप फिक्स करते हो, जैसा भी हो. तो you had something to say? Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question.
No, Matthew.
Am I audible?
No, Matthew, finish your point. Is it over? Can you understand? Yes.
The difference which I want to make is I understood very clearly the first steps. when it comes to the process of making from my findings, when we move to the we findings, in that area, I think there will be these, I don't know, because there can be issues regarding this because many ideas coming from and people will pushing their own views, and people can also think that their understanding about the past, their analysis about the situations, and this is more appropriate. And whatever we can think, I mean, there are many brainstorming sessions I was also participating. So sometimes to finding the we finding is in that scenario can be very complex. The all other aspects are much easier because you are clearly mentioned the time periods, everything is fine. But this process where real group dynamics issues comes into play, and there should be some role. I mean, I'm thinking can handle it better, who cannot handle it better, or the time frame. So this will look like that very less chance of finding V findings. People will there will be a group of my findings, 6 or 7 my findings will come, but there will be no proper and organic V finding will be much more difficult if we are not prepared well. That's my concern.
Dr. Matthew, what I can understand
your concern is very
that how to frame the we findings where some of the people will be smart enough to push themselves. This is what you want to say, isn't it? Oh, yes, madam.
Yes.
See, Matthew, what is important is from time to time, from readiness cycle up to the last cycle, or you can say from the first 6, the first 6 up to the last 6, you've got to and again, all participants, you've got to hammer here from time to time. What are we learning? What are we learning? We are learning dialogue. What are we learning? What are we learning? We are learning dialogue. If you don't do that, then the conditioned mind will never allow you to go to dialogue. From time to time, you've got to necessarily, essentially hammer yourself unconsciously. Here I'm making an effort to make you understand. That is why I'm using my hands. But otherwise, I'm tapping here. But otherwise, you've got to, like inside, you've got to say, you have to build that inside. And that will come when you are looking at the whole picture. When you are synthesizing of each other and not pulling each other's legs. You see, when you say you are superior than the others, when you are being creative, and when you have slowly, these will lead you to wisdom. And your creations will be based on wisdom. That is why Dr. Pasi said Wisdom Society, those are more parts that we do. This is just the basic that I'm talking with you. It is dialogue mode of paper presentation is value based. It is not just principles. It is very deep. It is value based. Where relationships, it is ego shedding on one hand and value based wisdom on the third. So all these together, if you allow the person to talk and talk and talk, it will not go in one day. The person will talk. But you've got to develop that sensitivity. Do you have that sensitivity? If you do not have the sensitivity, then no. If I can make my point without any fear, I'm fearless. But do I have the courage to be fearless? Here I'm fearing darkness, here I'm fearing that person, here I'm feeling, with all that fears that I'm living, you have to use your head, your heart, and the hands together, the 3H. But when you're talking most of the time, whether it is oral or whether it is your poster paper presentation, then you are not using your hands, the hearts, and you're only using your head. That's it. Here I'm using my heart. I'm trying to create a relationship with you by looking into your eyes, by being sensitive to what you are saying. Not just saying, oh, aisa nahi dialogue hota hai. When you have depth learning about the whole paper. Now when you are going back, you are not going with your paper. You have a new insight for your paper, plus you can make a presentation of the 6 papers that you have been collaborating. You have not been competing. I'm going to get the best paper award in this conference. No, here I'm learning something new when I'm participating. I'm building my character, which is going to be not principle, but value-based. Can I do that? Am I doing that? If I'm doing that, you know, when you are not changing your attitude, nothing can happen. Just the change in attitude will tell you how high you can go. But you know, these are very fine-tuned things which need more time. This was just the basic, just in 2 hours, I can't do all these things with you.
Lovely.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
जैसे डॉक्टर मैथ्यू ने कहा कि वी फाइंडिंग प्रोसेस है वो बहुत टफ होती है और ये और टफ तब नहीं हो जाएगी जब हम अलग अलग टॉपिक्स लेंगे, अलग अलग थीम्स लेंगे। तो क्या ये बेटर नहीं होगा कि हम एक ग्रुप में एक तरह के थीम्स लें और नेक्स्ट ग्रुप में दूसरी तरह के थीम्स लें, क्योंकि इसमें कंफ्यूजन तो होगा ना मैम। हम फोकस कर नहीं पाएंगे हर थीम के ऊपर।
तो हमको करने की क्यों, हम फिर हम डायलॉग नहीं सीखेंगे, हम कंडीशनड माइंड के साथ ही रहेंगे। माइंड लाइक्स टू डू इजी थिंग्स। कमलेश बोल रहे हैं आप? कमलेश बोल रहे थे?
यस मैम।
मेरे को पता ही ना कौन बोल रहा है। अच्छा,
यस मैम।
एनीवे, जो भी बोल रहा है, मतलब आप ये देखिए, माइंड लाइक्स, अब ध्यान से सुनना, माइंड लाइक्स टू डू इजी थिंग्स। Easy things are known things. Known things make you very comfortable. This is what you are saying कि मैडम हम तो अपना बस वही बना लेंगे, आई जो लेके आए हैं. I will go with the I findings because I am very. Your brain will say, "Don't go for V. Why do you want to do something new?" मैंने उस दिन बोला नहीं था आपके पसीने छूटेंगे, तो you say, "Why do you want to get into all that hassles?" अपने तो कंफर्टेबल हैं, सेम ट्यून को ले लेंगे. Your conditioned mind will not allow you to do something new. Here I am learning, I am making all efforts to draw out something new from you. नई इंसाइट कैसे आएगी बेटा? नया क्रिएटिविटी कैसे आएगा? आ ही नहीं सकता, क्योंकि कंडीशन माइंड तो करने ही नहीं देगा ना. You have a stimulus and you have a response. The moment I say, do you like it or you don't like it? I say, do you like it? You will immediately say, some will say like it, some will say not like it. ठीक है? Response? No. It is an emotional reaction you have given. If you like it, you quickly, brain works very fast. No, don't say. Suppose I say, all seats in the buses should be removed. Now, those who have experienced long journeys standing all the time, they will say, no. So they will say, no, buses mein seats nahi hatana chahiye. And those who say, no, but I sat comfortably and I came and all that, yes, hatana chahiye. In both the cases, remember, in both the cases, yes and no. Emotional reaction. It is not a well thought out reaction. There is a de Bono's technique called PMI, where you look at the plus points, the minus points, and the interesting points. Interesting points are apparently पगले से दिखने वाले, जो आज possible नहीं हो सकते, but maybe tomorrow, yes, हो सकते हैं. So you've got to be very open to all these things. तो अगर आप कहेंगे कि नहीं हम तो सेम डाइवर्सिटी से ही बेटा वो निकलेगा, क्योंकि जो ये आया ना, ये आपने स्टिमुलस दिया और तुरंत रिस्पांस दे दिया, ये तो इमोशनल हुआ. आपको स्टिमुलस हुआ, एक ये है स्टिमुलस और ये है रिस्पांस, और इन दोनों के बीच में क्या है? गैप है. You've got to use the gap so that you get a new insight, ताकि तुम नया समझ सको. अगर तुम नया समझ पाओगे, गांधी was pushed. Take an example. गांधी जी was pushed. अफ्रीका में उनको क्या करा? निकाल के बाहर फेंक दिया. कहाँ से? ट्रेन से. He was on the platform in that cold. and the first idea he got the idea and it is written, तो recorded है. मैं क्यों रहूं इसी जगह पे जहां पे मेरी इज्जत नहीं हो रही, अपने घर वापस जाऊं. First thought will come. Second thought comes, no, I will stay here and I will take badla. I will take revenge. These people pushed me, I will push them tomorrow. But I will stay here. What are these? Both are emotional responses. Because he experienced the push and he fell down and he hurt himself. And the second he said, but the third, he thought, he made use of that gap. Look at your gap hai. He sat there for the whole night. He said, I will stay here, number one. And I will not fight with them, number two. That is how non-violence came in. ऐसे एक दिन में नहीं आ जाता है. You have to make use of the stimulus response के बीच का जो gap है, उसको use करोगे, तब आएगी नई insight.
जी मैम, thank you so much.
Ma'am, I have a question that what should we do when a dialogue went in an argument? Like it happens with me, I'm a research scholar. Whenever I go in a offline presentation, so if my findings are different, and the audience is most of the professors, or especially those people who are definitely with much experience and much argue something, and when my dialogue went into argument, so how to handle that hierarchy and how to tackle that?
उनको मेरे पास भेज दो. डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा के पास भेज दो, डॉक्टर चौगले के पास भेज दो, सारे सेटल हो जाएंगे. I said that is not a forum where you have got to show your scholarship. अगर वो प्रोफेसर तो वो बेचारे हैं. You know those professors are बेचारे प्रोफेसर. क्या करें? कहीं तो मिलता नहीं है. इसकी टांग खींचो इसको. तभी तो मैंने डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा को बोला, pull him down. PhD means pull him down. प्रोफेसर ने अपनी स्कॉलरशिप दिखानी है ना कि हमारा तो इतना है, हमारा है. हम तुम्हारा दुख समझ सकते हैं बेटा. I can understand. Because all professors with those, those high ups, they will with all their egos. They should learn to shed egos. वो ये अपना कि हम सब including me, हम लोग भूल जाते हैं कि हमें मरना है और हमें प्यार से रहना चाहिए, ये हम भूल जाते हैं. विजडम सोसाइटी बनाने के लिए तो ये डॉक्टर चौगले, मल्होत्रा, इन्होंने बहुत काम किया है पासी साहब के साथ. विजडम सोसाइटी कैसे बनाएं, वो एक दिन में नहीं आती है, रिफ्लेक्शन करना पड़ेगा. तो तुम्हारा दर्द मैं समझ सकती हूँ, और तुम उनको कैसे वो हाई अप्स को हैंडल करने के लिए उनको बोलो कि जरा आप डायलॉग सीखिए. और दूसरी बात ये है, क्योंकि वो डिस्कशन नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो डायलॉग कर रहे हैं. डायलॉग में क्या करते हैं, वो एग्रीमेंट करने नहीं देंगे, तुमको पॉइंट पे आने नहीं देंगे. मैंने पहले भी बताया कि who is right, they are trying to push each other and say कि I am right, I am right, I am right, I am right. ये आर्गुमेंट करके आपको करेंगे. पर तुम उनको धीरे धीरे ले जा सकते हो डिस्कशन की तरफ, और अगर तुम स्मार्ट हो तो डिस्कशन से फिर डायलॉग की तरफ. उसमें लर्निंग आपको करनी पड़ेगी. यू विल हैव टू टेक सम टाइम. पर ये डरो मत और लड़ो भी मत, ये तुम्हारा बस उसूल बना लो. तो वो जो है ना तुम्हारे वो जो व्हाइट कॉलर्ड वाले वहां बैठे हैं उस साइड में, उनको बस ये सिखा दो कि भैया यू गॉट टू बी लिसनिंग टू व्हाट इज राइट, नॉट हु इज राइट. और ये बोलने का करेज भी तो होना चाहिए. नहीं मैडम कैसे बोल सकते हैं, मेरी PhD फंस जाएगी. तो मैं समझ सकती हूँ तुम्हारी को आगे नहीं पहुंच सकते, बट इन लोगों ये बस उनको इन्वर्टेड कॉमर्स में लिख दो, ये बेचारे प्रोफेसर.
Sometimes what happens now, ma'am, sometimes our findings are very different and our methodology is very different. Like my methodology is based on oral narratives and their methodology is based on maybe on archives. So वो डॉक्यूमेंट वाला वर्क कर रहे हैं, मैं ओरल में फील्ड पे जाके वर्क कर रही हूँ, तो वहाँ पे क्लैशेस होते हैं बहुत कि
तो
आप ऐसा
चाहिए ना. क्लैशेस के बाद तुम एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए, डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा, यही होना चाहिए ना कि एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए तुम तैयार रहो.
Yes.
गो विद एन ओपन माइंड. उधर वाले भी और तुम भी, दोनों जने का ओपन माइंड.
मैम
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू.
मैम
हाँ जी, बोलो ना आप।
बोलो।
हाँ,
ये देखो, पहले आप सभी को ये 6 आदमी जो और 8 आदमी जब बैठते हैं, तब पहले आपके मन में ये आना चाहिए, यहाँ हम सुपीरियर और इंफीरियर के लिए नहीं बैठे, हम यहाँ कॉन्फ्रेंस में एक थीम दिया गया है, मेन थीम अलग है, सब थीम्स अलग है। ये हम मेरे पास जो बैठा है वो इसका थीम अलग होगा, तीसरे का थीम अलग होगा, लेकिन हम सब बैठे हैं एक मेन थीम के बारे में सोचने के लिए, और मेरा मेथोडोलॉजी में भी डिफरेंट, उनका मेथोडोलॉजी में भी डिफरेंट, बट ऑल मेथोडोलॉजी दे आर वी आर कंक्लूडिंग टू द मेन थीम, एंड सो व्हेन वी थिंक एंड सिट टुगेदर फॉर डायलॉग, देन देयर विल बी नो आर्गुमेंट्स, आई थिंक।
नहीं, वो बेटा एक और भी तो बात है ना चोगले साहब, ये तो आपने बताया नहीं कि रियलिटी, देखिए मैंने आपको शुरू में कहा था, लाइफ इज होल, लाइफ इज सिंपल, बी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड बाय डिवाइडिंग इट इनटू पार्ट्स, एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज नो प्रॉब्लम, डिवाइड करो सीखने, बट दर्द तो तब है ना जब तुम उस पार्ट को ही होल समझने लगते हो। और रियलिटी इज, रिमेंबर, रियलिटी इज इंटरकनेक्टेड, related, reality is interdependent, and reality is ever emerging. ये सारे पॉइंट्स हैं, पर ये 1 मिनट में नहीं खत्म हो सकते, तो इसके लिए तो रिफ्लेक्शन चाहिए ना। तो जो ये कह रहे हैं ना कि नहीं हो नहीं सकता ये, और वो जो बच्ची बेचारी दुखी है कि भाई वो उनका तो वो आर्काइव्स लेके चल रहे हैं, वो तो पुराने वो पत्थरों में काम कर रहे होंगे, ये बेचारी नहीं कर रही, कैसे करें? हर चीज से रिलेटेड है, उनके आर्काइव तुम्हारे काम से रिलेटेड है, क्योंकि इट इज ऑल इंटरकनेक्टेड, इंटररिलेटेड, इंटरडिपेंडेंट, एंड इट इज एवर इमर्जिंग। रियलिटी यही है,
रियलिटी वो ओपन माइंड दोनों तरफ होना चाहिए।
हाँ, दोनों तरफ होना चाहिए ना, तभी तो मैंने कहा ना उनको लिख दो, बेचारे तुम बेचारे हो भाई, आप उनको सुनिए, अपना सुनिए, नहीं है कि मतलब आप अपनी बात को डर के मारे मत करो। तो डू यू वांट टू गेट अ डिग्री और डू यू वांट टू लर्न समथिंग न्यू इज इम्पोर्टेंट।
Thank you, ma'am.
Some Finman has raised the hand. Who is there? Let it be the last one.
Yes, sir. So good evening, everybody. My name is Farheen. I wanted to ask a question, sir, Malhotra, sir, that how will we be divided into these groups? So these 6 people, how will we be divided? And will you do the division, or like how will the groups be made?
Namely, that Suman has already said, my child, that people, these 6 people may not be from the same team.
Yes.
But these 6 people will be there. They will be sitting there. They will be provided with WhatsApp number, and then they will be talking amongst themselves. That is, they will be in a group, and this will be a dialogue presentation group.
Yes,
6
sir.
members will be there in it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Over to Suman, please. Madam, you want to conclude? Sorry.
I've done my part. मेरे को बेचारा मेरे को बाहर।
Over to Suman. Suman, Dr. Suman, over.
Thank you, sir.
Mic बंद है उन्हें।
Thank you, sir. Doctor clears the doubts of our participants. I hope all our doubts most has been cleared by now. Ms. Pasi. I now invite Dr. Sarla Rani, Assistant Professor, BPSITTR, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Rajkumari. Good afternoon, all of you. I, Dr. Sarla, Assistant Professor, BPSITTR, Kanpur Kala. It is a great opportunity for me today. I am first of all, I thank Dr. Suman Dalal, Dean Faculty of Education and Chairperson BPSITTR for giving me this opportunity to deliver the vote of thanks in this pre-international conference workshops session on dialogue method of paper presentation. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor BPSMV Kanpur Kala, Professor Sudesh ji. to organize this such international events. And I thank our resource person of this pre-international conference workshop, Dr. Subhashini Pasiji, Vice President Gera, for her explanation of the dialogue method of paper presentation in a very lucid and interesting manner. Thank you, ma'am. And I thank Professor S.P. Malhotra, President Gera, for being with us this evening in this academic pursuit. And I thank Professor S.K. Bawaji, President Head Quarters Gera, Choglezi, for giving us in this session. And I thank our worthy registrar, BPSMV Kanpur Class Sonipat, Haryana, Dr. Neelam Malik, sparing her valuable time for us this evening. And lastly, I would like to thank all our participants of India and abroad for a patience hearing. And thank you, all of you. And now my calls Dr. Rajkumari.
Thank you, ma'am. And your valuable thought. Now, I invite Miss Vishu, dear third semester student, for the Kalyan Mantra.
Thank you, ma'am. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। अर्थात सभी मंगलमय घटनाओं के साक्षी बने और किसी को भी दुख का भागी न बनना पड़े। इन्हीं मंगल कामनाओं के साथ आपका दिन मंगलमय हो। ओम शांति शांति शांति। थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you, Vishu. Now, I request all our dignitaries, faculty members, research scholars, postgraduate students, and in fact, all our participants to please stand up for national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you. You are all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Any announcement, Dr. Suman, if there is any, then
all our participants and those who are attending this workshop, they are all requested to join tomorrow at 10:30. Sorry, a day after tomorrow, on 28th March at AM in the inaugural session. And Pasi ma'am, thanks a lot. You have spared your time and thanks for your guidance, for your each and every help you have done, and I hope in future also we receive in the same way. And all this was possible due to you, sir, and it helps us a lot in the making or executing the conference, because we want to that all the participants will deliver their papers in the dialogue through dialogue mode. And this workshop helps us a lot, because explain, or none of us can, you may say, make familiar our participants in such an interesting and live way as Madam Pasi has done it. And really, from my core of heart, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And those participants who till now they don't send their papers, please send, so that we can make all our schedules in time and intimate you in time.
सुमन मैम, जो अभी फीडबैक फॉर्म भेजा गया है वो वर्क नहीं कर रहा है, वर्किंग नहीं है अभी वो।
मैम अभी मैंने भी अभी जस्ट फिल किया था 2 मिनट पहले, फिर एक बार दोबारा से मैं उसको भिजवा देती हूँ, मे बी सम नेटवर्क इश्यू हो।
जी थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू।
नमस्कार सभी को।
Thank you everyone.